Hi friends, it's Gwen. Thanks for joining me today for my review of Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book has been super hyped and I wasn't really that excited about purchasing it, but luckily I received a copy as part of my uppercase subscription service back in March, and I picked this book up to read at the end of April, and it took me 11 days to read it. And I wanted to share my thoughts with you today because I do have so many thoughts about this book. The first being that the very first page that I read, it reminded me of the Hunger Games. Let's check out why I thought that. Chapter 1. I hate First Friday. It makes the village crowded, and now, in the heat of high summer, it's the last thing anyone wants. So that just made me think of the reaping right off the bat. So is this the Hunger Games or is this a completely different series? I'm really confused. Anyway, as you can see, there are a lot of similarities between Red Queen and some other YA dystopians that I have read. This is a YA fantasy book. It features a lot of magic and a lot of powers, and it's not as unique as I was hoping it would be. Red Queen is basically divided into two different classes. There are the Red Bloods and there are the more powerful driven Silver Bloods. So the Red Bloods do not have powers and they are the subservients to the Silvers, and the Silvers of course have all of the powers. So the Reds live in a place called the Stilts and they, just go about their daily life. It kind of sounds a lot like Hunger Games, as in they don't have enough food, they don't have enough electricity, and they basically depend on the Silvers' gratuity and graciousness to give them all of those things. The Silvers basically have everything that they need. The Reds are serving them and they have all these really cool powers, such as the ability to manipulate metal or fire or other earth elements. There's also an electricity power, a mind person that controls or can go into people's minds. There are other type of abilities as well. Those are just the ones that I'm remembering right off the top of my head. But basically the story follows a Mare Barrow, who is a Red Blood, and through a string of events she is given a job at the palace, and during that time she is serving at an event, like a catered event, where she is surrounded by Silvers, and something ends up happening and she displays powers that only Silver Bloods are able to do. So the royal court quickly, pulls her in and comes up with a plan that they're gonna present her as a long lost Silver that was raised by Reds. And Mare's family is back in the Stilts, and now she is staying at the palace with this dysfunctional royal family. I loved the family dynamics of both Mare's family back home and of the dysfunctional royal family. I really enjoyed the dynamics between the siblings as well as the princes in the royal court. There was a lot of love triangle / love squaredom going on. There were 3 main guys in this, and they all, at one point or another had a connection with Mare. And there are also a lot of side characters that you get to know as well. One thing that I enjoyed along with the family dynamic, was the characters. I didn't get as much as I wanted as far as character development, but I did start seeing the beginnings of that. I also really love the cover, and the marketing for this book was amazing. Now onto the things that I didn't like as much. Of course, like I have already mentioned, it felt so familiar. Also, just the writing in general felt very slow paced to me. I felt that it took me a long time to read this. I felt that even within the love story and the twists and turns of the plot, it really didn't make it seem any more dramatic or more interesting at all. The ending I read it and I'm really not even sure if I want to continue on in the series. So even with the string of events that leads up to the end, I'm not really sure that that was good enough for me. The world building lacked a lot. I have heard things about the world after I read this and it doesn't relate at all. I heard that it was supposed to be like Rome or Greece or I don't know, something around that time, and I didn't pick that up at all. I picked up the Hunger Games. I picked up there being the capital, which is, you know, this where the Silverbloods live, and then District 12, where the Reds live, the Stilts. So to me, it wasn't really a very good world building experience. And even though there were several locations featured throughout the book, I felt that they were all pretty much the same. I've heard it all before, I've seen it all before, and it was nothing new and exciting. The conflict, of course, is Mare's a battle to self-discovery and why she has these powers and how can she control them and what is she going to do about this royal family and their lies and their secrets. But in the end, I just felt like it left me with more lies and more secrets. So that is my review of Red Queen. I ended up rating it a 3 out of 5 stars. Again, I do not know if I am moving on in this series, but we shall see. That's it for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye!